Hello, my name is Jeff Passmore. I work for JDSU's sales support organization, and I will be your host for a series of online presentations covering the HST 3000's basic copper test functionality. These sessions are be based on our 4-hour presentation that we've been giving since midsummer 2012. While the feedback from that 4-hour session has been positive, there have been many requests to shorten the time frame up, make it a little bit more manageable for technicians to take time out of their day. So we're going to break them up into logical segments. Even though the sessions will be shorter, the objective is still the same. And what I mean by that is the HST is a feature-rich device. It is capable of doing a ton of different things. It's my opinion that it's better to have the technician leave these sessions with a clear understanding of a few things or the most common things than being confused by several. My background is in telephony. I spent most of my time in cable maintenance. When I was lucky enough to get sent to training classes on test sets, which in my case was few and far between, but when I did go, quite often those classes consisted of someone showing me overhead slides up on the wall, or worse yet, reading out of the test set's manual. When I got out of those training classes, I knew where the buttons were on the tester, but I could not remember why I wanted to press the button in the first place. So my training's been called unconventional because I take that model and flip it upside down. I certainly show you how to run the HST, but I will spend an equal amount of time telling you why you would do a particular test. What's in it for me from that standpoint? So that'll be the style of the instruction. I begin each one of these sessions with an overview of the HST hardware, and for this first session, that's essentially all we're going to cover is a general walk around of the HST, covering some basic things. The HST is a multi-platform device, and all that means is you can plug different backs or different modules on the mainframe, main body of the unit, and test different technologies. Last time I counted, there were, I think, upwards of 20 different modules or backs that could plug onto the back of the HST, from PON, DS1, DS3, Ethernet, all the way down to copper DSL, which we'll be talking about. All copper testing is done through the top set of 5 leads: primary tip and ring, red and black; green is ground; secondary tip and ring, blue and yellow. Also on the top of the unit is an Ethernet port. I tell technicians that the HST, from a DSL standpoint, can be used in one of 3 ways. What I mean by that is most everyone knows that you can sync through the side port, the RJ45, and emulate a customer's modem. But you can also sync, emulate the modem, and if you have the web browsing option on the HST, also emulate a PC device by browsing the web. And thirdly, utilizing the Ethernet port, you could simply plug in off the back of a customer's router into the Ethernet port and emulate a PC device by surfing the web. Next to the Ethernet port, USB port. We use that primarily to load software, take test results off the unit. The little hole next to that's a headset jack. HST has a dialer butt set built into it. In fact, it's hands-free. If you look at the face of the unit, down towards the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a little hole. That's the microphone, and the speaker is on the bottom. If you're following along live with me, now would be a great time to turn on your HST, and we'll discuss the buttons and how I will refer to them as we go through these sessions. To the left of the up and down, left-right arrow keys is a cancel key. I tell technicians think of that as a stop, back up, I made a mistake key. The up, down, left, right arrow keys, fairly self-explanatory. They move you around in the menu structure. They also move you around in certain tests, like the distance marker on the TDR. To the right of the arrow keys is an OK key. I tell technicians think of that as an enter key on your laptop. It's an acknowledgement key. This is what I want to do. OK. Hopefully that looks familiar to everyone, just a standard keypad dialer. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's a light blue key. That's our shift key. Our shift key works a little differently than a laptop or a desktop in that you do not have to hold it down. You press it once, and the very next key you press will be a shifted key combination. And we'll try one of those in a moment. Underneath the arrow keys, there is a row of 4 buttons. Starting from the left, working right, the first is labeled Configure. Configure is where you go to set up advanced options, say for example DSL, and it's also where you go to compensate or calibrate tests, like the open meter. The button next to Configure is labeled Home. Home is whatever screen the HST boots into when it's turned on. That is considered the home screen or the top of the menu layer. Next to Home is Auto Test. Auto Test is an area of memory set aside by JDSU that allows us to program custom test sequences. Now, I tell technicians test sequences are nothing new. Most test sets that I know all come with an auto test of one form or another. But what's unique about JDSU's approach is our auto tests are highly customizable. So the customer defines the tests, the sequence they want the test performed, pass and fail parameters, and even next steps. And finally, the key all the way over to the right is a system key. That's the general housekeeping side of the application. It's where you reset date and time, reset your battery gas gauge, things like that. There's a row of 4 buttons right underneath the bottom edge of the screen. I will refer to them as F keys, and I will count them left to right, F1, F2, F3, and F4. JDSU refers to them as soft keys. The reason for that is the keys themselves line up with tabs at the bottom of the screen. For example, you'll see my F2 key lines up with a tab that says VDSL bond or VDSL bonded. As the screens change, so will the tabs above the keys. Therefore, their meanings will change based on whatever screen you're on. That is in direct contrast to the 4 buttons we just spoke of that never change. Configure is always configure, and home is always home. I'm going to switch over to my HST now. To continue the walk around to the outside of the unit, the battery is on the back of the HST. It is a lithium-ion battery, and in my opinion, it's the best battery in the industry, hands down. Interesting thing about lithium ion I found out about 2 years ago is the battery itself is rated on charge cycles. The reason I think that may be important is that I spend quite a bit of time in the field with technicians, and most of them are equipped with either a truck charger or an inverter. And typical use would be for them to, go out and test or use the HST for a while, come back to the truck, and automatically plug it back into the charger. Well, if you think about the lithium ion battery being rated on charge cycles and you are following that behavior, you're probably needlessly taking the life out of the battery. I would suggest that you only charge it when it needs to be charged. Now, you've got plenty of indication on the HST itself. You have a battery gas gauge up here in the top right-hand corner of the screen. And when the unit is about to go completely dead, you get a lot of warning. The lights start to flash and bells start to go off. So there's plenty of lead time before the unit actually dies. So that may be something that you should consider. The battery, the new battery, the charge port is on the battery itself. It's a round barrel connector, male-female arrangement. There are 2 LED lights there. Red means it's taking a charge. Green means it's fully charged. And finally, the round hole between the charge port and the LEDs is a serial port. Many technicians are surprised to find out the HST is basically a little computer. It's got a variety of different processors in it, and it runs a Linux operating system. Well, since it is basically a little computer, that means it can do computer-like things, and one of those things is to support serial port connection. So JDSU sells a little serial port connector that attaches to the bottom there, and it's most typically used by special service or high cap crews. They can take that card, for example, and plug right into the front of an HDSL card and pull the performance monitoring stats off the card and onto the HST rather than using their laptop. So that concludes the walk around, hardware walk around. I did promise you a shifted key combination. Let's try that now. Let's push the light blue key once. And you'll see when I initiate the shift, I get an up arrow symbol here in the top right hand corner. That's just letting me know that I'm in shift mode. And the very next key I press will be a shifted key. The other key I want you to press is the star or asterisk button, whatever you refer to it as. If you look closely, there's a little light blue symbol of a question mark that's also next to that star key. So what we've done is hit shift star or shift question mark. That key combination brings up the automated tax support center phone number or technical assistance center for JDSU. This is a toll-free call for all of our customers. The folks working there are in Maryland, but they work in overlapping time zones. So it's a free call to all of our customers. What I tell technicians is the folks on the other end of the phone may not necessarily be experts in what you do every day in the field, but they are stone cold experts in the HST and how to use it and set it up. So if you get out there and you get hung up on something, whether it's a DSL setup or how to run a particular copper test, I would encourage you to give these folks a call. Everything I have heard from technicians has been top notch. Notice on that pop-up window there is a question mark there. That question mark corresponds to the question mark on the OK key. So to close the pop-up, simply press OK. And you're back out to the main menu. Well, that concludes our first session on just the general walk around HST hardware and buttonology. So please join us for the next session where we'll begin to take a look at the digital voltometer. Thank you for attending.